I get quite a few questions from people saying, Dave, how do you POTA? This is my version of how to POTA. Other people with far more experience will say they've got better ways of doing it, but this is just my way that works for me, and hopefully you too can learn from it too, no matter what age you are, particularly if you are older than a G licence, when Great Britain G licence tend to mean we're knocking on, and you're finding it more challenging to get up to speed. So remember, you can always go on the Facebook group in the UK and also abroad to help you out as well. Not the amateur radio one that just says called generic amateur radio, but the one that is called POTA or SOTA for the international one, and Parks on the Air UK. What I do first of all is go on to the Field Spotter radio webpage and have a look around me and also more globally just to see how busy it is POTA wise, particularly if you're hunting people. In other words, going after people as contacts who are operating themselves, or you're looking to activate. Now, in the context of this one, I'm talking about activating, as in sitting in a park, transmitting, getting contacts, and the necessary 10. So you can do all sorts of things on this, and filters, have a play. It's absolutely brilliant. Just refresh the screen if it isn't quite working for you, and it all works again. But one of the things I'm looking for particularly are people around me. Now, I've done my research. I've looked up the parks around me, because you can look on maps, and there you go, there's maps on the POTA app. It's called POTA app, it's a website, and you go on, you can have a look. So I'm going to have a look around this village here in Derbyshire. I'm looking at this particular POTA site. I'm looking at the reference, GB4427, and I've made sure already that nobody's operating around here. Now, the chance is pretty slim, but it's always worth checking, because you don't want to be sitting right next to each other doing activation. At least you could share cakes and tea and stuff like that. But anyway, what you do is you add your activation on the POTA app, and when you do that, you start appearing on the various websites, informing people that you are operating, so people see you, you're visible, and you get that very rare thing. You could get the equivalent of a pile-up, potentially. At the very least, people know you're operating. So you put all the details. You could even write down at the bottom in comments if you want to, this is my very first activation, please go easy on me, and it would be great if you could contact me. And there's one of the parks, that's Betsy's Wood, that just put the 4427, and this is one of the places I operate from quite a lot, and that just gives you a bit of an idea on that one for a starters. And this is a bit of an idea. Some of them you can just park up in a car park with your antenna on your car, but this is more fun, I think. Anyway, that is a typical example of a let's call it a maximalist setup. Very heavy to carry. You've got an iPad, there's logging stuff, and if you're using digital modes, it helps you to do it all. I've got a big battery, 30 amp. I've got a linear. I've got my antenna out there. This is on another site, just a couple of kilometres away. And you've got it all there. Or what you could do is you could be really lightweight, where I've just got my box for my IC705 by ICOM. I've got a Wonder Wand and a wire and a counterpose and literally a battery, and you don't need a lot else, and that's all you need. So you've got the choice. If you use the power, you're going to activate the site very, very quickly. If you're using 10 watts, then it'll take you longer, involves more skill, but you'll still activate. But it just focuses on time. I just think it's more fun personally after doing it for a while, not carrying loads of heavy kit, because, you know, it's a lot of heavy kit to look around, whereas lightweight stuff, you're all right. Now, another app to look for is called Portable Logger, known as Polo. You can download this app. Loads of people use this, used on their iPads or their iPhones or Android if you must. And you can see the same activity where people are exactly the same as Field Spotter Radio. What I do like about this, it puts people in alphabetical order. So you can do all the filtering, all that sort of stuff. You can do your login on here. You can export files. You can do all that sort of stuff with this as well, which is fantastic. Don't tend to use it for logging myself, because I use I don't use Smart SDR. I use SDR Control that does all that for me, even if I write it down at the time and then put it in later. But you can see there's me. I've typed it in on the POTA app. It's appeared on Field Spotter Radio, and it's appeared also in the Polo app. And that's me just doing different searching, just give you an idea. So people know you're out there. And this was me. This was on one. I did just 10 watts. Transmitted straight away. When I'm using low power, I tend to use CW or FT4 or FT8, and there you go, I've got contact straight away. So it just shows it's possible, and really is. I would say, you know, for example, if you're putting out 10 watts and you've got a wire, let's say it's going to take you an hour and a half to do your 10 activations, one extra for good luck. Just making sure that sometimes people haven't doubled up. You've contacted people twice by accident. It has been known to happen. And there's an example on this you'll see in a second, where I even had a small pile up on digital, which was absolutely bonkers. And there is the small pile up, easy as that. But literally, that's all there is to it. If you're brand new to POTA or radio, literally what I would advise you to do, just me set up in a minimalistic sense again, is to get on a band that is well known, well populated, and you've spotted there's activity. For example, 20 meters. But look at the band plan, check the band plan, Google the band plan and go on the part of the band that is used primarily for POTA. You can do that through your research, see where everybody's transmitting. For example, you're on CW, you don't want to be at the bottom of 20 meters on CW. That's where all the DXs are. You can get trapped in the noise. You want to be at the higher end towards the CW band. But check all that out and just put a call out. And if you're on SSB, which seems to be the most successful way of doing it, where most of the people are, just find a slot on the band, particularly near the QRP allocation on the band, and put out a call. CQ POTA. CQ POTA. This is, from my case, G0OES. Please give me a call back. QRZ. And that's it. Every success, 73s.